I feel like I've somewhat been here before on this subject, but it's like everything, I suppose, it has layers. So, ever since stepping into, like, putting out my clear intention and stepping into truth, I suppose, of what's like speaking to me inside, then I've had doubts and fears be manifested through people, because that's kind of how I view life. So basically, if you are the universe and everything occurring around you is something that's within you, then when you have or you go towards something that's out of your comfort zone, then you're going to have doubts and fears, and then you see them through people. And it's often like, sometimes a lot of this is like family. Like, people say about their children saying something or triggering something. And it's because often it happens like it has to be somebody that you love and respect, because otherwise you just wouldn't give a shit, which is interesting. But it doesn't always happen that way. It can just be in your field of peers, or somebody close to you, a friend, or yeah, it could be anyone really. But quite often, if you're needing to like really hear it, it'll be somebody that will either be close to you or that you hold in a bit of a high regard, which is interesting, because then you're faced again with this idea of what is truth. And just me talking about this now, I'm really getting like clear message come through that you can only ever have your own truth. The truth is not a global there's no one way. It's like, how would the universe function if every single person did the exact same thing? Like, I really feel like this place or this simulation or whatever it is, the reality, is just growth and learning and experience, and like overcoming boundaries and pushing through limitations, and just basically having trust in yourself and just going for it. And the more you do go for it, the more it expands infinitely. So it's really, really interesting what it's all bringing up. Like, I can actually see, life is manifesting to just doors are opening. The more I go, okay, the more I say yes, the more they open, which is super interesting as well. But it's like I'm really at a point where I have to step in and remember and know that you can't be doing it wrong, and that your truth will never be the same as somebody else's, will never completely be the same as somebody else's. It's like there's morals, or there's kind of like guideline-y sort of things which people can agree on. And there's so much in me that's like, oh, I could just totally ignore this person, or I could just, not speak to them anymore, or not think about them anymore. And that's like, well, is there any growth in that? Am I just ignoring a part of myself that's in there? Because like getting triggered is a gift, because there's something in there that's needing to be addressed as far as I'm concerned. So it's really, really super interesting about how and why this, like, the topic of reality and truth is so prominent for me. And I don't know if it is for everyone, but it's just been such an interesting experience to see and notice and reconfirm over and over and over again that you can't do it wrong, because it's you doing it, and that there's only, it's up to you how you do it. And I really learned a lot about judgment too, that, you know, when you have the awakening and you're like, oh my God, everyone needs to know this stuff. And you really feel like it's your job to save the world, and you need to tell everybody what's really going on. And then you move past that stage and you just sort of like process, let everyone fucking do whatever they're doing. And you just sort of have a silent knowing. And then you get to the stage where you're like, well, I'm actually really, now when I see people who are unaware or think differently, whatever, because technically, you know, it is, the term is sleeping. But I just think back about like when I was like that. Who am I to scream in their faces? There's no fucking way anyone could have woken me up. It has to happen naturally, which it does. And so it's really about like judging other people for their decisions or where they're at. And it's like, you know, it's very interesting because it's almost like school where you've got to go through the layers. And so whether the ultimate truth, if you get to that stage, exists at all, Jesus, got noisy, whether that exists at all is one thing. But like, from what I've known, with life being so paradoxical, you have to adapt a certain belief to then realize that it's, well, adapt a certain truth to then realize that it's not correct. But you couldn't have got to that next stage without that belief, without that truth. And it's like embodying layers upon layers upon layers. And it's all like, you know, rungs on the ladder, a never-ending ladder. And so, yeah, it was really like, you know, this past week or so, I've really just been noticing, it's been longer than that, but it's like amped up, the judgment, like how people are so judgmental, which means if I'm seeing it everywhere, then I need to see where I'm doing it, which was beautiful, because now I'm just so grateful for that judgment being in my field, because I was able to have this really big growth and transcendence of judgment. And it's just been a beautiful understanding and unfolding. Yeah, so, you know, truth is just a crazy concept, because there's no one truth. And it's like we, you know, when we have our awakening, we sort of, we're just like, this is the truth, this is the truth, this is the truth. Then it's like, no, this is the truth, no, this is the truth. It's just fucking never ending. But I guess I just wanted to, like, where I've gotten to in this talk is like really understanding that your truth is your own. And it doesn't matter if somebody doesn't have the same truth as you. In fact, that's better. It is. It's actually better, because if a whole heap of people have the same truth, I think they call it a religion. And it's very interesting to me, because anything that is held on to, I've had this realization lately too, anything that's been really held on to and captured and like followed to a T, like tunnel visioned, it's it doesn't allow you to expand and grow. If it's kind of, religion's a great example, but there's loads of teaching where it's like, this is, sounds like my son let the dog in. There's loads of teachings that are like this, and there's so many rules and so many things to follow and so many, no, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. When I guess you get to a certain point where you have the ability to tap in and you can see, hear and feel your inner guidance, then everything sort of changes. Yeah, so it's just like I'm really getting the message through that like everything is to be transcended. And I think I've said that a few times, but it's just like, deeper levels. So if for anyone that's needing it, your truth is your own. And it doesn't matter because there's always going to be doubts and fears around you, which are people who go against and don't believe what you believe. And that's fine. It's a beautiful reminder for me now that I don't want to believe the same as everybody else. I don't want to do it like everybody else. I never did. And it's just this beautiful reminder that we're all unique because we are our own expression of consciousness. And we are going to do it differently and we are going to view it differently. And not one person is going to have this exact same experience. And that's a good thing. Okay.